Have you ever wondered why the play button is a triangle? Or why the stop button is a square and the pause button is two parallel lines? Also, there's this icon if you know what that is, comment below.
Alright, let's start by adding our audio first.
Have you ever wondered why the play button is a triangle? Or why the stop button is a square and the pause button is two parallel lines? Also, there's this icon if you know what that is, comment below.
I've already provided this audio for you. You can easily download it from the link in the description. Once it's added to your timeline, make sure to sync it properly because every animation we create will match the beats and words of this track. Now let's create our background. Go to New Item and select Color Matte. Choose a base color that matches your overall tone. I'm using a soft cream shade here because it feels light and clean. After that, we'll add our line box image on top of it. Once it's placed, reduce the opacity slightly so it blends into the background and doesn't overpower the visuals. Next, let's start adding our main text. Type your first line and adjust the size and position. For the last word, I'm going to change the font to make it stand out. I'll use the word wondered. You can choose any font you like, but I recommend something clean and bold so the contrast looks strong. Make this last word slightly bigger and keep the top words a bit smaller. Now, let's make this highlighted word look even better. Go to the fill settings, choose linear gradient, and make one side slightly darker. That helps separate it from the rest of the text and gives it a subtle depth. Perfect. Now comes the fun part, animation. To animate each word individually, duplicate your text layer and remove one word from each duplicate. This way, every word is on a separate layer. It might take a few minutes, but trust me, it's worth it. Once you're done, you'll see each word appear one by one, just like I'm showing you on screen. For the last word, wondered, I want it to appear from bottom to top. To do that, go to Effects, search for Transform, and drag it to your text layer. In the effect controls, increase the shutter angle to around 180 for smoother motion blur. Then, turn on position and opacity keyframes. Adjust them carefully to create a clean upward motion.
Have you ever wondered why the play button is a triangle? Or why the stop?
Now, select all your text layers, including the background. Right-click and choose Nest. This helps you keep everything organized. Once that's done, let's add another color matte, a slightly different shade from before. I'm going with a pure white tone this time, just to make the iPhone pop later. Now we can bring in our iPhone image. Adjust its size according to your nested text layer. If your text is overflowing from the phone, just apply the crop effect to make it fit perfectly inside the screen. You'll notice the iPhone corners are rounded, but our layer edges are still sharp. Let's fix that. Go to Effects and search for Roughen Edges. Drag it to your layer, and in Effect Controls, increase the border while decreasing the fractal influence all the way to 0. Adjust the edge sharpness until you get a perfectly smooth, round edge. Now it blends seamlessly with the iPhone frame. Next, let's add our play icon.
Have you ever wondered why
I want it to be pure white, so I'll go to Effects, search for Tint, and drag it onto the icon. Then just change the black color to white. Once that's done, adjust the play icon in the center of the phone screen. If it feels too big, reduce the scale slightly. Now let's create a background for this icon. Select the ellipse tool and draw a perfect circle behind the play button. Align it properly at the center. To make it look more dynamic, go to Fill, choose Linear Gradient, and make the gradient soft. Something that gives it a 3D button feel. Reduce the opacity a bit so it looks more like a glowing touch area rather than a solid button. Select both layers, the play icon and the circle, and nest them together. Make it smaller and position it at the center of the iPhone screen. Now let's create a bounce effect for the button. Go to Effects, search for Transform, and drag it onto the nested button layer. Now, we'll animate scale and height. Set both to 0 at the first frame. Move ahead 3 frames, increase width to 130, and height to 110. Then move 2 more frames ahead, and set both back to 100. Select all your keyframes, right-click, and choose Ease In and Ease Out.
play button? Why the play button?
And there you go. You'll see a smooth, realistic pop-up for your play button. Now, select the button background, the text layer, and the iPhone image, and nest them all together. In this nested sequence, let's animate the iPhone zooming out. Go to Scale and set keyframes to make it start larger, and then zoom out slightly for a subtle camera move.
Have you ever wondered why the play button is a triangle? Have you ever wondered why the play button Have you ever wondered why the play button is a triangle? Or why the stop
Now head inside your nested button sequence. Cut the play icon, delete it, and replace it with the stop button icon. Copy-paste the scale, position, and tint settings from your previous play icon so it looks exactly the same. Adjust it slightly if it's off-center.
Why the play button is a triangle? Or why the...
When the audio says stop, make sure your stop icon appears at that exact moment. It'll sync perfectly with the narration. Now drag your updated button sequence back into the main timeline and position it properly. Cut the icon layer when it needs to change.
Or why the... is a triangle. Triangle.
And animate the scale again so it grows slightly when it switches. That gives it a tactile, press-like feeling.
Or why the stop? Or why the...
Adjust your animation graph to create a smooth ease in and ease out.
Or why the stop?
When the graph peaks, that's where the visual change happens, so make sure your timing is tight. Now, let's animate the phone. We'll make it move slightly downward. Turn on position keyframes, move 2 frames forward, and adjust it down just a bit. Also, turn on opacity keyframes so it fades slightly. This adds a nice depth illusion.
Or why the... Stop button is a square and a pause button. or why the stop button is a square and the pause.
When the audio says pause, drop in your pause icon. Follow the same steps. Copy all effects from your previous icons and paste them here.
Is a square and the pause button is two parallel lines. Also, there's this.
For this last icon, I'll change the tint color to a soft yellow just to give it a different feel.
Also, there's this icon, if you know what that is, comment below. Or why the stop button is a square.
Now, let's move to the text again. Drop in your previous text layer under the iPhone image.
Or why
This will appear when the phone moves down. Write your new text, adjust the spacing,
stop.
and for the highlighted word, reuse your wondered setup. Rename it to your new word, maybe square, make it larger, and adjust it slightly for balance.
Or why the stop button. Or why the stop button is a why the stop button is a square and a
Now let's type our second line and place it below the button. Use the same technique for highlighting one keyword.
or why the stop button is a square and the pause button is two parallel lines.
Then animate each word one by one, just like before. Duplicate each layer so every word appears independently. If you want the animation to feel a bit faster, copy the transform effect from your previous highlighted word and paste it into each new layer. Adjust the keyframe slightly so the timing feels snappier and synced with your audio.
The pause button is two parallel lines. The pause button. And the pause button is two parallel lines.
Once you're happy, select all your text layers and nest them again. Now let's add our animated
By the
arrows.
stop button.
You'll notice these arrows are currently black, but we need them transparent. Go to Effects, search for Color Key, and drag it onto the layer. Use the eyedropper to select the black color and increase the parameter until the black disappears completely. We also need these arrows to be gray, so go back to Effects, search for Tint, drag it in, and change both colors to a soft gray tone. That gives the arrows a clean, minimal aesthetic.
Stop button is a square and the by the stop button is a square. And the pause button is two parallel.
Duplicate this arrow layer and position the copy at the bottom.
Two parallel lines. Pause button is two parallel lines.
Then cut both arrow layers and paste them inside your text nest, so now your nested text includes both text and arrows.
Square and the pause button is two parallel lines. Also, there's this.
Select your main button layer, and we'll make it slightly bigger when it changes. Use scale and graph settings to smooth the transition.
Also, there's this icon if you. There's this icon if you know what that is. Also, there's.
Then animate your text layer as well. Make it grow slightly with the button and fade out.
Also, there's.
Use scale and opacity keyframes, adjust your graph, and you'll see a clean pop and disappear motion.
Also, there's. Also, there's this icon if you know what that is. Comment below. Also, there's.
Once this looks perfect, let's add the final text. I'm reusing my last text setup, just moving it to this section.
Also, there's
Change the color slightly, make the font bold, and once again animate it word by word using the same method. Each layer, one word, appearing one by one. I just realized I forgot to show you one small detail. The button movement. For that smooth, floating button effect, I used Finzar Camera Shake. It's a small touch, but it adds a lot of life to the scene. You can try it too, just adjust the strength slightly so it doesn't look too aggressive. And yes, I know some of you are thinking, we could do all this so easily in After Effects. You're absolutely right. But the reason I'm doing everything in Premiere Pro is for editors who don't use After Effects, who want to stay inside Premiere and still create motion graphics like this. So this tutorial is especially for you. To show that you can make amazing animations right here, we just created a complete interactive animation inside Premiere Pro, step by step, without using After Effects. I hope this tutorial helped you and gave you new ideas for your next reel. If you enjoyed it, drop a comment and let me know what you're going to create next.
Have you ever wondered why the play button is a triangle? Or why the stop button is a square and the pause button is two parallel lines? Also, there's this icon if you know what that is, comment below. Have you ever wondered why the play button is a triangle? Or why the stop button is a square and the pause button is two parallel lines? Also, there's this icon if you know what that is, comment below.